Welcome to Tansson TV Plus. Of course, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Mom.
Yeah, and we're so excited to have you. And so today we are excited to be discussing.
Extended family.
Yes, and this is the season 1 and series finale of the show, season 1, episode 13. And yes, this sort of ended out on March 26, 2024. And Mom, we can dive right into it.
Okay. First of all, let's talk a little bit about this particular episode, and I'll be very general. In this episode, Jim is trying to leave the house, and Julia and Trey come in, and they decide that they want Jim to be basically their counselor before marriage, is what it comes down to. So they want a little bit of pre-marriage counseling from him, and they want him to ask questions and to find out if he thinks they are right for each other. And so this episode kind of goes through questions that Jim does ask both of them, and they answer, and then they figure out if they're right for each other.
Well, Mom, thank you so much for that synopsis.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and to go a little bit broader, so if you are not familiar with the series, this aired for 13 episodes on NBC, ending this past March, and it was basically about this sort of couple. So you have the original couple of Jim and Julia. They have been divorced for a little while now, but they are still on friendly terms. And so, in order for them to focus on their kids, they have it where their kids stay at home and they switch out every other week. But Julia is now engaged to this new guy, Trey, and so that's largely what the series is about, trying to figure out their new extended family.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, and so overall, like I said, for me, I personally really enjoyed the series. We discussed this back during our Tansson Talks TV series on our other channel when it first debuted in December. But yeah, so Mom, overall, like, what are your thoughts about the show overall and this episode?
I think if I remember correctly, I kind of predicted that I didn't know if the show would last. I didn't know if the network would give it a chance for getting a second season. I think it needed a good first season in order to get it started. And then I think a second season for it would have actually taken off. But overall, I did enjoy the show. I did watch it when it came on. It is a funny show. And it's nicely done. They involve the children in the show. You and I both had a discussion about the children, and you kind of mentioned, and I'll let you talk about it a little bit, but you mentioned that you like how they really incorporated the children into the real series and just not as a subplot per se. I'll let you talk about that, Brandon.
Yeah, and and you definitely summed it out quite well. But yeah, I mean, I think that this show did a really good job of focusing on not just the three adults, but the whole family. And and for that, it gave the kids, Jimmy and Grace, it gave them like actual character development and sort of a reason for them to be involved. And I don't know, at least for the shows that we have seen, we've seen a lot of older shows, but I don't think we've really seen a lot of shows that really have given this much attention to, per se, the younger cast. And so I like that this one really does sort of let them shine. And so for me, it's a little bit disappointing that it's ending the season and unfortunately the series. Yeah, with largely focusing on, like I said, the three adults, even though, like I said, they are, of course, some of the main characters. I kind of wish that the children had more sort of involvement with this. Like I said, because we really do get to see their personalities throughout the season, and not just in trivial manner.
Yeah. And of course, I'm not sure, I don't think they knew this was going to be the last episode. Or did they, Brandon, to your knowledge?
I don't know one way or the other.
Yeah, but regardless, the children did not actually have a big role in the finale, which I would have thought that they would have incorporated them a little bit more since the show was really so focused on being better parents for the children. But they did, in fact, instead they did decide to focus on the couple. And and to show that they were a strong couple, working together, that the three of them still are plan to work together and work as a family.
Yeah, and even going into this a little bit more and tying it back to the actual episode, the finale, is that is that overall the concept of even children, how it fits into their lives, did play a role in this, in the sense of that Trey and Julia had not discussed whether or not they had wanted kids yet.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting that they hadn't discussed that yet. But Julia said that I mean, her children were teenagers at this point. She said she didn't want any other children. But it was interesting to see Trey because he did want children and well, children for both of them together, and so it was interesting to watch their take on it.
Yeah, and so it was really interesting because that sort of was the main sort of thread there, and so within their pre-marriage counseling, their pre-cana for this episode yeah is that we see Jim sort of yeah he uses moments of his marriage to help prepare Trey, and something that I like about this is, though, Jim and Trey definitely do compete throughout the series, with Jim sort of being a normal person, so to speak, and Trey being the owner of the Boston Celtics. Of course, they have a major class difference in what they can afford, but is that it's not all about who's the better man. But I like that they become friends throughout the season, and so it's really like the three of them as a team and not just one against the other.
Yeah, they did do a nice job of making sure that they all kind of worked together as a team. They even had Grandpa in there too, and Grandpa seems to be okay with this arrangement that they have with each other.
Absolutely, yes. Jim's father, Bobby. I really liked him as a character. He really, as it grew on me throughout the season. I'm sure if there would have been a second season, I'm sure he probably would have been a main character within it. So I kind of wish that we would have seen more development with him. But for being a one season show, I think the show did such a great job at fleshing out, like I said, its characters and really making you wanting to care about it and actually watch it week after week. I know that there are plenty of shows that we have seen in the past and even seen now that are sort of just passive shows for us. Like, yeah, if we see it, we'll watch it. But I think this is a show that I truly actually look forward to watching every week.
Yeah, Brandon. Yes, I look forward to watching it also every week. I think you like the show more than I did, but I did look forward to watching it every week, and I did enjoy the camaraderie that they did have with each other, and they were actually quick with the one-liners, which I really like.
Yeah, and I will note too that as a little connection is that some of the companies that produce this are Warner Entertainment, Lionsgate Television, Universal Television, but Warner Entertainment is also the production company of The Connors, which we spoke about their season 6 finale just a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I know. We found that we're having a lot of connections between these shows.
But yeah, and so like I said, but overall we have that. And Mom, I know we discussed it earlier on within back in early January about the theme song. But Mom, overall, if you can give us a refresher, what are your thoughts on the theme song for the series?
I'm just so happy they have a theme song. You know, it's really nice to see shows that actually have takes the producers or the musicians who take the time to actually add on a theme song because I think it does a lot and it kind of gives the best first impression with the theme song. So I really do like the theme song here. The words the words for the show kind of go along as needed, but I think the theme show's nice. It is actually, believe it or not, catchy.
Yeah, it certainly is catchy, and even though it's short, I like that the names are a part of it as well. I know that's been omitted from a lot of different shows' theme songs, so I'm glad that they kept that part in, and that they kept it throughout the whole episode run, because that was something we were discussing earlier in our previous discussion, was whether it was going to be a one episode thing or stay throughout the whole season.
Yeah, no, I was very happy to see it pops up every week.
And two things I did want to mention in the question is is first of all, that my brother, this is one of the shows that he actually enjoyed watching, and he's very picky when it comes to what shows he will or will not decide to watch. But this is one of the few shows that he actually enjoyed watching, which I think just sort of speaks to the show and the way that it developed itself. It tried to not just be funny, but also, let's say, be sort of together, so to speak. That it actually had a story, had a reason, and there was development every week, and that it was truly enjoyable.
Yeah, I was really surprised when your brother said that well, although he wouldn't tell me, I know you guys watched it together, that he would watch the show.
But yeah, but I did want to to sort of leave off with a question that is, if the show had continued, what would you like to have seen in a potential season two?
Well, I actually think the show would have actually made it if they gotten married. And so I think that would have been interesting to see how they, as a couple, would have done this being married. Would they have still continued to move in the apartment, every week or every other week? Or would they have finally decided that they need two different apartments, and it could be in the same building where the kids are going back and forth. So that would be interesting to see if that's something they would have done. And like you kind of mentioned the grandfather too, I like Bobby, and I think he's a nice little character. So I think it would have been interesting to see his developments in the show.
Yeah, I definitely fully agree, and I definitely would have been very excited to see more of Bobby, and I would actually like to see more of, let's say, the bonding moments between the children and, let's say, the parental figures. We saw a glimpse of that a little bit, throughout the end of the season, like with the daddy daughter dance and like the Pinewood Derby. But I definitely would have loved to see more of those moments and sort of the children scheming up against the parents, because I thought that was just humorous, and we've had so many fun moments throughout this season. But I would say a part that I really loved was the episode that Jim and Trey teamed up for being in charge of the sleepover.
Oh yes, that was a nice episode.
But yeah, but anyway, as we go ahead and bring this episode to a close, like I said, this is extended family emphasis on the X, which we did not notice in the previous discussion.
Yeah, no, we sure didn't. Yes, we figured that out after the first episode. Well, I should say after about the second episode or so, what it really meant.
But yeah, but nonetheless, I always enjoy doing these discussions with you.
I do too, Brandon. And so thank our audience for joining us again today.
We'll see you next time.
All right, bye bye, everybody.